The CEO of one of Las Vegas's biggest casino empires just said the quiet part out loud. We only want rich people. And in that single sentence, the dream of Las Vegas, the city built on inclusion, chaos, and chance, cracked. Because that new strategy, that open confession, explains the eerie silence now echoing down the Strip. The city that used to pulse with 40 million visitors a year is suddenly quiet. Casinos half full, restaurants without lines, hotel lobbies that once felt electric now hum with emptiness. The lights still flash, the fountains still dance, but the people, the lifeblood of the city, are gone. It's a Saturday afternoon in 2025. At Caesar's Palace, the casino floor, once so loud you had to shout to be heard, is eerily still. Dealers lean against empty tables. Slot machines blink quietly, their music playing to no one. Across the street, the famous Five Guys on Strip stands nearly deserted. You can hear your footsteps bounce off the walls. The same sidewalks that once overflowed with tourists from every corner of the world now stretch wide and bare under the desert sun. Hotel occupancy sits at 78.7%, a number that, a few years ago, would have meant panic. Visitor counts are down 12% year over year, and convention attendance, long the engine of Vegas weekdays, has fallen nearly 19%. But to casino executives, this isn't a crisis. It's a plan. When asked by investors about the slowdown, Tom Reeg, CEO of Caesars, didn't sugarcoat it. We're bringing in higher value customers. That means we're kicking out the lowest end. MGM and Wynn said the same thing in their quarterly reports. We're focusing on premium positioning. We're upgrading our audience. It's corporate language for a cultural shift. Vegas no longer wants everyone. It wants someone specific, the wealthy. The formula sounds simple. Fewer guests, each spending more. Fewer headaches, more profit. But every new velvet rope comes with cost. Because in chasing high rollers, Vegas might have lost a heartbeat that made it iconic. For decades, Las Vegas was the ultimate equalizer, a place where a teacher from Ohio could sit beside a millionaire from Dubai, and both would cheer when the dice hit 7. It wasn't about money, it was about belonging. The hotels didn't care who you were, as long as you were having fun. Parking was free, drinks were free, $49 rooms, $5 tables, $20 buffets. It was loud, chaotic, and gloriously democratic. Vegas wasn't selling luxury, it was selling escape. It gave everyday people a chance to feel like high rollers for a weekend. And that feeling, that illusion of inclusion, built a $35 billion tourism empire. But as costs rose and Wall Street took over the Strip, the math changed. The old Vegas thrived on volume, millions of small spenders. But the new Vegas wants margin, fewer guests, fatter wallets. And the shift happened fast. Between 2023 and 2024, room rates jumped by over 40%. Average table minimums doubled. Resort fees became standard, and even self-parking, once a sacred freebie, now costs $25 to $40 a day. The idea was to push out the low-end gambler and attract luxury tourists who would spend thousands without blinking. On paper, it worked. In reality, it hollowed the city. Imagine a family of 4 flying in for a weekend, just like they used to. A few nights, a couple shows, maybe a little blackjack. The hotel, $900 for 3 nights. Resort fees, another $150. Parking, $75. Food, $500 easy, even in casual places. Add a few rounds of gaming, maybe a show or two, and suddenly their quick trip costs $3,500 before the fun even starts. What was once a city of affordable wonder is now a paywall, a place that politely says, not for you. And with the price hikes came the death of its most famous traditions. The buffets, the true symbol of Vegas abundance, are nearly extinct. The Rio's Carnival World Buffet is gone. Caesars closed theirs quietly. Even the Bellagio ended its seafood nights in 2024. For workers like Rosa, a line cook of 17 years, it wasn't just the end of a job. It was the end of a ritual. She used to greet the same families year after year. When the buffet closed, she said, "It felt like we were shutting down a piece of the city's heart." Vegas is built on service. 250,000 hospitality workers keep it alive. Dealers, bartenders, servers, cleaners, the human engine behind the spectacle. But when casinos chase exclusivity, those people are the first to feel the impact. On-call shifts replace full-time schedules. Tips drop by 40 to 60%. Some workers now drive an hour each way from Henderson or North Las Vegas with a chance to get a shift. One veteran blackjack dealer summed it up perfectly. Vegas used to reward hard work. Now it rewards luck for executives. The tourists haven't disappeared. They've just changed direction. In Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and New York, regional and tribal casinos are booming. They offer what Vegas no longer does. Cheap tables, free parking, fair odds, and a friendly welcome. And with 33 states now offering legal commercial casinos, most Americans don't need to fly to the desert anymore. They can drive 45 minutes and get the same rush, without the resort fees or the $20 cocktails. Even the rich now have options. High rollers are heading to Macau, Singapore, or Monaco, places where exclusivity feels earned, not engineered. It's not just a Vegas problem. Across the world, luxury markets are pushing middle-class consumers out. From restaurant to airlines, from cities to streaming services, the premiumization model is spreading. But Vegas was supposed to be different. It wasn't built for the 1%. It was built by dreamers for dreamers. It was built by people who had nothing and believed in the power of luck. That's what made it magic. That's what made it alive. Executives might point to profits and say, "See? It's working." But here's the problem. Vegas was never about numbers. It was about noise. The collective heartbeat of millions of strangers chasing the same dream. You can't measure that on a balance sheet. You can't replace it with high-end dining and $1,000 bottle service. When the crowds disappear, the electricity disappears with them. And the silence that follows isn't luxury. It's loneliness. So what happens next? Vegas has three choices. Double down on the rich. Keep the velvet ropes, the $400 dinners, the designer boutiques. Profit stays stable, but the culture dies. Hybrid revival. Bring back some affordable anchors. Midweek deals, low-stakes tables, and maybe a classic buffet revival. Let regular people back in. Event-driven Vegas. Rely on huge spikes. The F1 Grand Prix, the Super Bowl, concerts, festivals, to mask the emptiness in between. Short bursts of chaos in a long desert of quiet. But none of these fix the soul problem. Because Vegas was never meant to be curated. It was meant to be wild. Talk to anyone who's worked there for more than a decade and they'll tell you, the Strip doesn't feel the same. It looks the same, but it doesn't sound the same. The laughter's gone. The crowds are thinner. The energy, that messy, unpredictable, wonderful human chaos, is fading. The neon still glows, but it glows over ghosts. Vegas made a choice. It gambled that it could survive with fewer people, as long as the rich spent enough to fill the gap. But here's the truth. Vegas never sold gambling. It sold hope. Hope that anyone, just anyone, could win. And once the hope is gone, you can raise prices all you want. But the magic is gone too.